let's talk some more about what his impact is going to be on the Titans wide receiver room. And there's two guys in particular I want to talk about here. Generally speaking, a lot has been made about how if Tyler Boyd comes in, what does that mean for Treylon Burks? Former first round pick, a guy that, was going to be the 3 in this offense. Now is going to be the 4 behind Burks or behind Boyd. What does this mean for Burks? And the counter is not really much, right? Because he's an outside guy and, Tyler Boyd's coming in. He's a slot only guy. And so it's different worlds, apples and oranges. Let me clear that up a little bit. I think there's multiple things that are true here, and it involves some nuanced understanding. Number one, Tyler Boyd is a slot only receiver. That is true. Number two, his presence impacts Kyle Phillips and guys that are more slot only players like that more than it does a Treylon Burks. That's true as well. It's also true that Tyler Boyd is going to mean less snaps for Treylon Burks in an offense that is going to move their versatile receivers around. Like we know that DeAndre Hopkins did last year and is probably going to more this year. Move inside and outside. Calvin Ridley, same capability. Treylon Burks, same capability. There are some like myself who are awfully fond of, hey, let's make him in the big slot that he was a lot in college and let him utilize his skill set there. I think he may be best served playing as a big slot. And so if that's the case, he's going to have to share those reps with Tyler Boyd. Everybody's got to share with Tyler Boyd because he can only play inside. If you bump him out, it's going to be on a rare occasion. So that's true that even though he's a slot guy and Treylon may be a primarily outside receiver, he's taken targets from that guy. He's taken snaps from that guy. And then number 4, signing Boyd does speak, at least in part, to what this team's opinion of Treylon Burks is. With Burks in particular, his case has been the same since the season ended, JT, right? We were talking in January about how, okay, Treylon Burks next year, he's got to be the gravy guy. If he can't stay on the field or he just simply can't put it together as a player, no worries. But if he finally starts balling, like, that's great. That's a fantastic bonus. That's the gravy on top. That's the icing on the cake. But again, we're not relying upon him breaking out, relying upon him being a reliably healthy, viable option on Sundays for this passing offense to work. And so maybe they go and trade him, which there's been a lot of speculation there. It would not shock me if he's been on the trading block for a while now, if he's certainly on the trading block now that Tyler Boyd's in the building. And for the right price, it might make a lot of sense to this team. That would make this argument null and void. But if he's a Titan in 2024, that's the role he needs to fill, gravy guy. And with this wide receiver group as newly constructed, I think that he's going to.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's really interesting, with those trade talks because he's costing you basically nothing. I mean, dirt cheap right now going into his 3rd season, to trade that away for maybe a 6th or a 5th round pick, even if you could get that, like, as Jerry says in the comments, like, would it be maybe a 7th, like in a pick swap or something? Like, I don't know.
Let's talk about that.
I don't know what the price is on
let's take the projection out of it. What you think it would be. If you're the GM, what would you accept? What would you have to hear on the other end of that phone to say, yes, Treylon, pack your bags?
I mean, for me, it'd have to be like a 3rd, I feel like.
Okay. Which is never going to happen, right?
It's never going to happen. I don't know. I don't see a reality where you trade this guy for when you have the flexibility and his cost, trading that guy for less than a 3rd. I feel like when you have him and, there's can only go up. Like, if he doesn't play, like you said, he doesn't play, and that's just what it is. But like you said, you're not relying on him. So like there really is no reason to not keep him in the building. Now, I think that brings up a different point as we talked about earlier, like through this entire cycle. You talk about Treylon Burks as as a possible slot option. And I feel like this move still just continues to tell me that the vibes of Treylon playing in the slot are just not how this team sees him and does not see how he can be better on the field at this level. In college that worked really well for him, but clearly at this level, when you talk about, hey, who do you think might play the slot? And you're talking about guys like NWY and Mason Kinsey and Kyle Phillips, and you don't even mention Treylon Burks. Not to say that Nick Holtz doesn't think that Treylon Burks can be a pivotal and a complementary wide receiver at the next level. But, you know, when he was talking about Treylon Burks, it didn't sound like he was so excited. You know, it sounded like, hey,
Right.
if he ends up working out, he ends up working out. But I don't know, you know, keeping him on the roster and seeing how he can develop, I think, is the best option there. But like you said, the Boyd will definitely play a huge factor into how much he is going to be playing. And, you know, I just think that Treylon is one of those guys that you see getting mixed in and out with more of a Calvin Ridley or a DeAndre Hopkins on the outside.
Derek wants a 4th round pick and a decent right tackle. That'd be okay. I mean, yeah, me too. There's a lot of things I want in life that I won't be getting. Going back to the question of what you would accept, you know, when you 3rd round pick came out of your mouth, that was something that viscerally for me, I was like, relax. You know, I was apt to roll my eyes at that. And then you think about it for a minute and it's like, yeah, that's kind of where I would be too. Maybe a 4th, but like if it's a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick for the Titans in return, I don't see that being more valuable than the upside of having Treylon Burks, a former 1st round player that has inside outside versatility. He's big and he's strong and he's fast. He is raw as heck and inconsistent as heck and injured far too often. But man, when it's there, it's there. And there is value to be had. I don't see that as more valuable than having that guy as your 4th or 5th option on the depth chart. I really don't. And so while I wouldn't be surprised if they're shopping him, and I wouldn't be surprised if they moved him for pennies, because you know we've seen what this trade market looks like for the wide receivers this past offseason. It's been some interesting it's been an interesting like market correction, I think, in people's minds about how receiver trades not as valuable as you think they as you think they are, maybe not as valuable as they once were, just because of the saturation of like you can get a really nice receiver for free in the draft. They're just kind of churning them out at this point. The college factory of receivers just continues apace, and so I don't. If I had to guess today, I think they shop him. I don't think they move him, and I think he's the gravy guy in 2024. That's where my head's at.
I think I'm with you. I think there is still some potential for him to carve out a role in this Titan specific offense. You know, I think whether it is, you know, playing that just deep threat vertical guy and hoping that he just finally learns how to catch the ball down there. Like if that works out, then like you have something there and you can build on that. But until then, you know, it's not like he's actively being a hindrance on your roster because, like you said, the cost of a Treylon Burks on the roster right now is so minuscule.